For those of you that don't know me, my name's Dale. I've been coming to this church on and off now for probably the past 9 to 12 months. But only ever once in a while, never weekly, never every single week. That's only been happening this last 2 months, I'd say, 2-3 months. Basically speaking, I became a Christian in 1996. Can anybody remember 1996? It was rather a hot year, to say the least. And I was 12 years old. I've been a Christian, I suppose you could say, longer than that. My mum she's now a prison chaplain, but she became a Christian in 1983 when I was born. My father was an atheist, a major atheist. And so consequently they divorced when I was 5 years old. Mum then felt that it was time to get me christened, so I was christened then, and she went to an Anglican church where from the age of 6 to 11 I was boy soprano in the choir. So I've had a long Christian history. But in 1996, we started going to a Baptist church, and my cousins went, and my aunt and my uncle-to-be, because they got married shortly afterwards, my uncle-to-be went to the same church, and they were being baptised. My aunt and my cousins were being baptised. So the baptistry's there, it's all full immersion, and the pastor said, "Does anybody here else that wants to get baptised, please step forward." Now, at that point, I was stood at the back of the hall with a camera taking the pictures, and behind me was a radiator. It was switched off, but I felt the most amazing power of heat coming. It was like raging fire. It's the only way I can describe it. I felt that I was burning up. And so I went and jumped forward. And so as I jumped forward, he went, "Oh, Dale, yes, you want to be baptised. Please step forward. Come this way." And I was like, well, I can't really back out now, can I? So Mum explained that years later to me. She said, "That's a touch from the Holy Spirit. That's called being baptised in the Holy Spirit. You've had a push." So that day I stepped into the water and came out born again. Wonderful. 1996. Now, my life then started to turn downhill very shortly afterwards, I'd say. The following year, 97, I was in my teens by then, adolescence. I've been asked to keep this brief, so I'm going to say, let's just say my past was very colourful, and that's when it started. But since then, my life had been a bit like this. Okay? So just a long line of ups and downs. Pretty much everybody's life, really, if you think about it. We start off, we're born, we go through life, our childhood, something might happen, we start to go downhill, we lose focus. Then something happens again, something positive, you start going up again, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. That was me. Now, skip forward a lot of years to 2002. By this time, we've moved up to Staffordshire. Mum's chaplain at HMP Dovegate and HMP Rye Hill. We've been up here a while by that time, and I lost weight. I went from being nearly 21 stone to 16 stone in 5 weeks. And everybody was like, "What on earth is going on?" I went to the doctors. Doctors were confused. I got sent to hospital. Hospital was confused. They sent me via ambulance down to King's College Hospital in London for 2 days, where I went and saw loads of different specialists, and doctors kept on coming and going. By this time I was on a life support machine, so it was as serious gets. and I got diagnosed with something called Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, which is a bowel condition, inflammatory bowel condition. The first effects are that you lose a lot of weight. They put me on steroids, and I was on steroids for the next 10 years to 2012, which is why I've gone plumply up again. And no matter how hard I try, it doesn't seem to want to shift. And also, hence the cane. It's not often I have days where I actually have to use this anymore. However, today is one of them, and I'm pretty sure that's because the devil does not want me to be here. He kept me up until 20 to 6 this morning, so I'm here on not a lot of sleep, but that's not common for me, you know. That's not uncommon for me, rather. I was used to that, so I thought, well, I'm going anyway. So as soon as I said, that's it, I'm going anyway, all of a sudden I started going to the loo a lot, and the pain, my word, when it comes on, does it come on strong. But I was adamant I was going to be here today, so I just grabbed my cane, took my painkillers, and here I am. So 2002, my illness has been diagnosed. I was in hospital recovering, and I was in isolation. I don't know if any of you have been in isolation, where they stick you in a side room and nobody's allowed to visit you. Nobody's allowed into your room, you're not allowed out of your room. I was in there for 3 weeks, like that. In Stafford Hospital, I got transferred to Stafford so that Mum could come and visit me easier. However, I did have my Bible with me. I had a message version of the Bible with me. And I sat and started to read. And I'd asked Mum on the phone, how do you read the Bible? Because I didn't actually know how to read the Bible. And she said, well, don't start at Genesis. She said, you've got to forward to Matthew and start with the Gospels. Unfortunately, I'd already read Genesis whilst I was waiting for her to get back to me. So I'd actually read Genesis. This is what I like to do with most things. I like to look at the beginning of a book and the end of a book. So I've read Genesis and Revelations. And then I was getting, as you can imagine, rather confused messages. So Mum said, start at the Gospels and work your way forward. She said, then move on to the Psalms and the Proverbs. So that's what I did. And when I started to read all that, I suddenly realised that if I had a time machine and I could go from the beginning of my life to the end of my life, this line of ups and downs is my mind focus. I should have said that at the start. My mind focus was going like this, all over the place. But if I had a time machine, I'd already know what this end goal was. So my mindset would look something like this. Sorry, that's bad, but it's as straight as I can get it. But it's a straight line. Your mindset would just be focused on this because you already know what's coming. You already know how your life would end up, so you wouldn't be bothered about all the ups and downs. And as I was sat there reading and reading and reading, I suddenly realised that this line in my life is God. Okay, God says, Revelations 22, let me skip to my Bible here. Revelations 22, verse 13. Oh, come on. Technology, don't we just love it? Okay. I am the Alpha, and I am the Omega. Okay? I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and last. And I suddenly realised as long as I keep focused on this line, as long as I keep focused on God, none of this is going to matter. Don't focus on the ups and the downs of your life. If you found God, that's all you need. So, but then, reading on, verse 14, blessed are those who do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city. Now for me, this last part of your life represents dying. The last downhill struggle, if you like, And then when you get here, this, to me, this bottom part of our life is the gate. You go through the gate and you ascend into the city of heaven. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Thank you for your testimony. And you're welcome to the church. And I know you're a big asset to the church already. Because Dale's an accountant and a bookkeeper. And he's taken on the work of the church.
I'm an auditor and a bookkeeper.
And all that stuff. And you've been a blessing already, and you've helped us with a lot of things. So thank you, Dale. The Lord bless you, and welcome to the church.
Thank you. Thank you.